Well, f takes g is just nonsense. I'll continue with my plan. Play queen takes g5.
Right, of course, now it's going to be a knight move, a rook move, and he wants to make me on g7. Well, I'm going to have to shift a defense here, but I like that, because his opening of the g line was quite two-edged. He split his f and h pawns, so any endgame here is going to be good for black. So I'm going to drive off an attacker, and I'm going to offer the exchange of queens at the same time, with queen c5.
Yes, that's quite annoying. He's just quite prepared to defend, instead of going out for well, an all-out attack on the queen side. I'm going to have to bring my queen back. I definitely can't afford to exchange queens, but still I've got some reasonable chances. I think I'll play queen g3. That'll stop him playing queen e3, which looks quite awkward. Yeah, still, this is quite good for me.
Yes, now I like my position. I like that the weakening of his king side. Now I want to put my main attack on the king side. So the first shift should be queen h5. I don't know what I can get to follow that up, but yes, I like this two-edged position. Queen h5.
Well, it seems to me that in some ways Short's playing a much sharper game than Byrne is here.
Yes, it's funny that both sides like their positions, but I must confess I agree with Byrne here. I don't believe this white attack on the king's side. It's characteristic of Short ambitiously to play for even more space and attack when he has a little control of space anyway, but I don't think it should lead anywhere.
Right, well, let's join the game with knight or short white to play.
Yes, he's just defending here, but how am I going to continue now? Maybe, well, I want to play my knight from e2, get it out of the way and play rook g2, and then maybe move my king and play my other rook to g1. Well, that'll give me tremendous threats along the g file. Yes, knight d4 also has the merits of defending my b pawn, and there's no other sensible square to put my knight on e2, so I'll just play knight d4.
Now I'd love to switch a rook c5 to the king's side, and I have to prepare for that. At the same time, of course, I have to defend my g7 square, which is going to be under attack as fast as he can get a rook there. So queen h6.
Yes. Well, I'm just going to play a rook over to the g file. Play rook g2, because also he might be threatening a move like e5 here. Maybe that's no good, but still, I don't like my f-pawn being pinned. I'm just going to play rook g2.
Now, should I play rook c5? The main idea I have here, my main winning try would be rook c5 to h5, forcing a passive defense with rook h2, and then perhaps rook h4, forcing another passive defense of the f-pawn, and then I could take it from there. Now on rook c5, he has, of course, b4, the fork b4. Then I capture on c4. He plays ba, play rook takes d4, bc, and I play bishop c6. Well, he has, of course, a passed pawn there, but it's not easy to support, and my pieces will be very active. I don't know, because I have another move here too. I can play Queen f6. Now that should be awkward for him. I wish I weren't so short of time here. I could make up my mind more easily. Queen f6. Now that ought to produce some trouble. All right, I'll try Queen f6 and shift the rook on the next move. Queen f6.
Yes. Well, what am I going to do with my knight? Maybe just rook d1. That looks okay. But I've got something else here. It looks quite attractive. Maybe I can play knight f5. If he plays e takes f, knight d5, queen h6, and knight e7 check, king f8, knight takes f5, he plays queen f6, then knight takes g7. Yes, I get some quite good chances there. But he hasn't got very much time left. I think this move could give him a lot of trouble. He's only a few minutes, and it will be very difficult to work out the consequences of that move. Yes, I'm just going to play knight f5.
Oh, I overlooked that. I really don't know if it's right. It may be dead wrong, but I've only got a minute on my clock, and I don't like to have to defend against that attack. If I take that knight d5, queen h6, knight e7 check, king f8, knight f5, queen f6, knight takes g7, what then? He's going to try to bring a rook to the e line to cut off my king, move the knight away and give mate with the queen on g8. What defense would I have against that? Bishop d7, bishop c6. No, he would do that right in my time pressure. What a brat. No, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to handle that. I'll just have to grab something reasonably safe. G6.
Isn't that a blunder? I thought he had to take my knight on f5. I think I've got the move knight takes d6 now, threatening his rook on c8. And if he plays rook takes d6 e5, well, this seems crushing. Why am I not winning this? This knight takes d6 looks tremendous.
Oh, damn. If I had seen that, I would have taken the knight no matter what, because this is ridiculous. One move and I'm lost. It's completely lost. Now, this is ridiculous. Take the knight, of course, as a fork with e5. But if I don't take the knight, it's worse yet. If I save that rook, he plays e5, queen g7. He just piles in knight on c to e4 to f6 check. It's destruction. Well, this thing is totally gone, but at least I don't want to overstep. I'm just going to have to give here. Rook takes d6.
Well, no, I've got to play e5. But still, this ought to be winning for me.
Yes, of course. Yes. Well, I just have to fish as best I can. Queen f5.
Now I get a tremendous position. So, I'd better take his rook off now. This looks good. I'm just e takes d6.
There are no rational moves here. This is awful. The only thing to do is to just mess it up. Therefore, b5.